Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is January 1st as I record this intro. Welcome to the new year. It's 2018. Happy whatever it is. Yeah. Anyway, I'm getting right back into streaming like I used to a couple years ago before I got a real job. I no longer have a big boy job anymore, so it's time to try to create one because I suck at work. Anyway, I'm just going to roll right into this video. I ran into a few problems in my initial recording. I lost the original first little maybe 10 minutes or so where everything that could go wrong went wrong. My tablet stopped working, things weren't recording properly, and the video crashed. So you get to miss that part. And it's being replaced by this little intro. Anyway, enjoy. So, back to where we left off. So I cut out the knife stock art, and I set it up on this layer. I set it up with a new layer for sketching, and my drawing tablet is working now. So we have a lot to do. Now, I wish I could show you me drawing on the tablet, but you have this nice little space to look at with me. So just imagine my pen on the screen where it's going, if you like. I'm going to shrink my OBS into the background so I can see if anybody wants to chat with me while I'm doing this. So, like I said previously, I might as well repeat it now just in case there's new viewers. I'm doing concept art for myself to create 3D art later on. Now, I wanted to do this from 7 till 10, but it's 8 now because I had to deal with a lot of program issues, glitches, problems, stupid crap that you really shouldn't have to deal with when you want to broadcast. So, this nice little knife is stock art. It probably belongs to somebody else. I'm sorry if I'm stealing your art. Please forgive me. This is for reference purposes, just a template, a starting point of where I want to go. So, basically, I do not want to copy-paste this knife. That would be way too easy. Especially if this is going to be a 3D asset. So what I'm going to do is just take this as a starting point and see where it goes. So I'm just going to quickly just sketch in what I think a knife should look like. And I'm using black. A lot of people use red or whatever else. What I am going to do is I'm going to go over this layer and I'm going to see if I could turn up the opacity just so I don't have to deal with it at full force. I'm going to turn it down to about 20%. That should do it. Oh, that is way too much. I wish it had a live opacity thing. So what I'm going to do is because that was so drastic, I'm going to do it to about 50%. And that's a lot better, that's for sure. So, yeah, like I said, I just want to take this knife, this idea, and turn it into a really good looking fantasy blade that I'm going to render out in 3D at a later time. Probably going to start doing it tomorrow morning if this gets finished. I am drawing on the wrong layer too. So let's get rid of all that last little bit. And there we go. So let's try that again. So Oops. Let's bring that opacity back up to about 50%, maybe 60, because that was still a little bit too light. Let's go back over to my main thing, and let's start that one over again. So there we go. Now I can see it. So I just want to put some flourishes in this knife, make it look a little bit more vicious, a little bit more video gamey, let's call it that. And so the reason I have open canvas here is because it fully supports, without any need of anything, full pressure sensitivity for my tablet, which is kind of one of the main reasons I wanted a tablet in the first place. Just so I could do little sketches like this, just kind of bring it out. And I wanted this a little bit bigger before, I believe, just to come down a little bit, come back in, just have a nice little wavy blade as my first knife. Now I'm just drawing this off the top of my head, based on the image behind it, because I don't want to copy paste this knife. Nobody likes copy pasted knives. So maybe put just a little bit of a Sharpie bit there. Make it look really nice. Maybe, there we go. That's a little bit better. Just a little bit of a curve. Just something to look forward to when he's pulling this knife out, right? And there we go. And that's that part. So yeah, just embellishing on what already exists just a little bit. Trying to make it look nicer, look a little bit more horrible if I stabbed you with it in the video game. Because of course you want your knife to look really cool when you're wearing it, when it's on your side. Maybe a nice little dealy up there. Who knows, right? And I'll come back down into the handle, and even just put it in just a little bit like so, just to show where it goes. Now let's imagine where the sharp little bits will go. Probably up until there, right? Maybe this one will have a little blood groove too, right? Just like the original one. Just bring it in, have it look really nice. Now, let's work on the handle a little bit, right? So, and the reason I roll my wrist like I do is because I don't know if you could hear it, if you could pick it up. My wrist cracks, stiffens up, it gets really sore. So that's why I'm rolling my wrist, taking a little bit of a pause here and there. Just cracking up the kinks in my wrist. So let's make this look a little bit more flourished, right? So there's that. Let's bring it up like this. So maybe make that a little bit bigger, like so, right? Just make it look all kinds of super nice. Did I draw my eraser? Now this is supposed to have an eraser button, but I could just go over here and go over to the eraser and scratch that out, because who needs that kind of mess that I just kind of fumbled all over the place with, right? And then go over here back to the pen. Now that's already looking a lot better as far as knives go, right? So what you want is the basics of this knife already has the kind of grooves, like where it's comfortable in your hand already. So I'm going to just keep that in mind as I keep throwing in these little bit of sketches. So I am kind of copying the rest of the blade so far, but I could throw in embellishes when we get there, right? Like this is going to go through a few steps. Like this is just the basic little bit of preliminary sketching. I'm gonna bring this part in just for where the thumb goes, right? Nice little thumb space, little place to put your hand here. Let's round it out just a little bit. Now the end of this knife is just a little bit boring to me, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it out just kind of like this, kind of like that. Let's put something awesome at the very end, so I'm just going to bring in this little divot here. Let's imagine that we could already see this in 3D, so let's call this just a little bit of a hole there, right? Just a little bit of a thing at the very end, the very pommel of it. Now let's what could be there? Like I could do something like a little spike. I could do a hook, right? I could do a keychain, skull, right? I think I really like the idea of a hook. Or sorry, a spike. Just some kind of horrible way to puncture into somebody when stabbing just will not do, right? Just nice and sharp. Just go right into somebody, right? So now that I have this basic sketch down, let's go into cleaning it up just a little bit, right? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the first layer. There we go. Now all we have is the sketch layer. I'm going to go over the sketch layer. I'm going to turn the opacity down to about 60, just like before, just because below 50 is a little bit too much. Let's choose a different color. Let's go with maybe red or something, right? What we're going to do is we're going to add a new layer, and this is going to be cleanup. Oop. Put my finger in my mouth for a little second here. Let's call it cleanup. Now, I have to mention a couple things. I am not an artist. Definitely not an artist. I suck at drawing. But as you can see with this little preliminary little sketch here, you don't even really need to be a great artist to come up with a nice little mock-up. Just find a template online and embellish it. Work on it. Make it look better. Make it pop out. So now I have, actually I'm going to turn up the opacity even a little bit. Yeah, cleanup should be, no, cleanup should be 100%. Oops. The sketch should be just a little bit lower. This probably could handle 50. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Now, so what I'm just going to do, and like I said, I am not an artist. I don't do art at all. But I do this, and so let's just go in a little bit of smoother strokes, right? Just go in, make it look clean, make it look fancy. Doesn't need to be perfect. Just need to give yourself something to go off by. Now I kind of messed up that little bit over here. So just go to the erasers and just get rid of it, right? Just get rid of it. You're in the concept stage. You don't need to rush yourself. You don't need to do anything you don't want to. So bring this back, make it look a little bit smoother. Just kind of make your lines look nice and neat. I don't even know if I want to keep this hook. Like, maybe I'll change it up, maybe I'll erase it entirely. Let's see what it looks like different. So I do want to keep that little bump there. So let's keep that little bump there. Now, do I even want to keep this end hook? I don't know. What do you think? I have 2 viewers right now. Awesome. This is the most viewers I've had in over 2 years. Mostly because I took a break from Twitch entirely. But chime in. Tell me what you think. Should I keep that hook? Should I erase it? I'll check back in a couple minutes because of the delay that exists. Just throw in your 2 cents. Tell me what you think about this nice little hook I just did. Is it keepable? Should it go away? I actually kind of messed up this hook over here a little bit too, so I'm going to give that a little bit of a erase job. Maybe make it look a little bit better because that kind of sucked there. So let's go back over here, bring that out like so, bring that out like that. There we go. That looks better. Now we have that little divot. So the red lines are already looking a little bit better than the black ones. Just because it's smoother, it's nicer, it's less scratchy. So that'll just help me out later when I do the final touches. Now I'm going to turn this end into another little hooky bit right there. This is going to roll up like so. That's going to roll down. And hopefully this will be a nice little knife that other people can put into their games, right? And the end goal is to try to make game assets and continue surviving for a little while, just like everybody else, right? Everybody needs to make money, everybody needs to pay rent and buy food. Things are tough right now, so might as well put one of my skills to use, throw it out here on Twitch, get some viewers maybe, get some, possibly in the future, maybe I'll set up a Patreon account. Who knows? It all depends on how many viewers I get, how many people want to support me, how many people tell their friends and spread the word. And yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this very end here. Now this doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, it is still the sketch phase. And this is for a 3D art project, right? So imagine this. Like, you don't have to do the what I did down here with the back part, right? Because that's just going to be assumed when I do the finished product. I just wanted it there just to have an idea of how it would look after I finished it. So, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this blade come a little bit closer to the back of it, a little bit closer to the front of it. There we go. And I'm not using any rulers, I'm not using any guides, I'm not using any button tricks at all. I'm just doing this all freehand and just trying to make it look as good as I possibly can. Just for the second little touches here. And yeah, there we go. Once again. Now, I kind of don't like what I did with that last little Y there, so I'm just gonna Control Z that, make it all go away. And let's see how something like this would look. So, like that, maybe. See, I already like this a little bit better. And then, yeah, maybe something like that. Just a little bit nicer, a little bit more symmetrical. Let's clean this up just a little bit down there. There we go. Get some erasing on. Get rid of lines we don't need. And let's look at that without the sketch behind it, right? And look how much better that already looks. I am very happy with this. Just, am I still on the eraser? Good. Go make it the slightly more heavy eraser and just get rid of that little bit that got off the screen. Sharpen it a little bit. Get rid of this this little errant line there. Just trying to get rid of everything we don't need. Now when I get to the 3D part, right, I'm going to be able to take this little area here and just extrude it out. And it'll be as straight as I need it to be. And that's why I'm not really caring about how horrible or out of place it is, how bad it looks, because I could just I just throw a box down, right? Take this edge, extrude it down. It'll be perfectly straight, and then I could sharpen it out. It'll be perfectly fine. Yeah, when I do the 3D parts. So now we have this this nice little blade here. So I'm gonna just imagine where the sharp bits are, right? Just imagine how sharp the knife is, and kind of don't like that, right? There we go. Just imagine where the sharpness is. And again, this is going to be perfectly fine in the 3D. It doesn't even need to be perfect here. I just want a good sense of where it might be for when I make the 3D piece. Because, again, this is going to start with a box. And then what I'm going to do is imagine, like, there's a box there, so let's 3Dize the box, right? So it'll go out like this, something like that, right? I'm going to take this edge here, is going to be this side here. I'm going to cut that in half. I'm just going to pull out the middle part, and it'll be perfectly symmetrical. It'll go through perfectly, and I don't even have to worry about how bad this looks, because it'll just be dealt with by the 3D art program. I'm going to be using Blender when I move this to the 3D finish. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this not an art. I'll erase this a little bit here because everybody already knows I'm not an artist, because look at this piece of crap, right? It is junk. But I'm going to try to turn it into something as beautiful as I could possibly make it, as one of my first knives. So let's go back to drawing. Let's take the opacity of this one down to the same point, about 50, 40, whatever. 45, sure. There, now I can barely see that. Let's grab a new layer. Let's call this touch-ups. Alright, now I'm on the touch-up layer. Now, the good thing about drawing and redrawing and tracing and whatever else is that it gets your hand, it gets your arm moving, it gets everything warmed up. The little bit of scratches I did at the beginning got my wrist a little bit loose. It got me to crack it a few times, and so I was just feeling a little bit dry there. It gets everything flowing, it gets everything going, it gets loosens you up. The second trace got everything a little bit smoother, a little bit cleaner. Now what I want to do with this is I want to start making it look good again. I want to make it look solid. Do another trace, maybe clean up this area here and this area here, because the rest of this knife actually looks really good to me. So I'm pretty happy with this. And this drawing only took, what, half an hour through 2 sketches? So you can see how going through the design phases of concept art isn't really as hard as it seems to be sometimes. I'm just going to clean this up, put it down in a black layer. Let's see if I can get this little bit there looking better. Get that loopity-doop. Get that down in there. And it's just, it's not, well, it's kind of just tracing the other work in a way, yes. But it's also just making things look better, look neater. Making it all just kind of pop out and work the way you want it to. Kind of like this little bit here. So I'm just going to bring that out, maybe bring it back a little bit further. Just because I didn't like how it looked before. There we go. That's a little bit nicer, right? Now go into there. We have the blade once again. Let's bring the sharp bit in just to have an idea of where it is. There we go. Now, get back to the handle. Now I still like this little claw here. It's a little bit close to the that little bit here now. So let's see if I could bring it down just a little bit. Bring it up. Make it a little bit more prominent. There we go. That's a lot better, right? And what I'm going to do here, so I'm just going to put a little bit of detail I didn't have before, because this looks like it would be an add-on. Maybe it's an animal claw. Maybe it's a different metal. Maybe it's a ruby. Maybe it's a diamond. Who knows, right? But I just while I was drawing this, I thought this little bit here needs to look like it's a different thing. So because that looks a little bit different now, I don't like I accidentally did something elsewhere, so I'm just gonna fix that. Get the soft eraser, because this doesn't need to go in there anymore. It needs to go up here, and that's better. There, now it looks like it's going around the other side. And this is going to be protruding up a little bit, so let's just put a little couple of maybe some stretch marks, just to give us an idea that this has a little bit of depth. It's coming out of somewhere, right? Now, the rest of this handle looks really nice, and I really want to keep it that way, so I am liking this. And we are almost done. Let's see if we could fix the top a little bit. There we go. A little bit of a cheaty trick with this program. I'm not able to right click here, so I'm just gonna go over my mouse and middle click and drag that over. There we go. So now this makes the bottom part a little bit easier to draw. So just flip it around, and that's why I have this thing here. That's why this little thing exists, is so I could flip everything around when I need to. And that's why I picked up this program, the Open Canvas 7, is because it had a lot of stuff I really wanted to give a try. So let's, oh, I'm not on my pen anymore. I am not on my pen anymore. What is this? Oh boy, we ran into another issue. What is going on here? And why is this happening now? What did I do different? Okay. Let's bring that back down. So, advanced settings. This is what came up, so... Oh, that's why. My pen moved all the way over into the white bits. So let's turn off. So I have a bunch of white hanging out over here, which is a little bit weird, but hey, didn't even notice that happen. So sometimes these little things. There we go. I'm drawing again. Sometimes you just don't notice things like that, right? So now we could get back into business here. I just want to draw really light. Just get a good curve in. And as I have the right curve, I'll just darken it. There we go. That's a lot better. I'm trying to make it look a little bit even, a little nice. There we go. Bring up the sharp bits. Who knows? This could be a gem too, right? This could be a crystal. It could be another blade. It could be anything we wanted it to be, right? All about what you want to present to players when it becomes an actual real piece of art. So, I honestly think that's a done deal, actually. This needs maybe a little bit of a cleanup up here. Just get that out of the way, clean that up. Now I'm just clean up a little bit so we don't need, like over here. Making sure everything looks super nice, super clear. It's not really that important, but you don't want to be picking up little things that you don't need, like stuff like that. And if you're drawing a concept art to present to somebody, you want it to look as good as you possibly can, right? Now, because I'm presenting this concept art to me, I'm a little bit biased to accepting my submissions. So, you know, that's just a little bit of unfairness right there, right? Now, I'm still not quite happy with this. I'm trying to figure out how I can make it better, right? So, let's get rid of it entirely. Actually, I'm going to make it a bigger eraser. Let's get rid of that just completely. And maybe make it a little bit bigger. Try something else with it. Because that's been bugging me for a little while. Ever since I asked if it was worth keeping in. So maybe something like that. I don't like the curve that I just made, so let's get that out of there. Let's make a better little curve there. It goes up a little bit high. And maybe that's what we needed, right? Who knows? And I might just remove this little bit entirely, because it is bugging me that it doesn't look quite right. But that's why it's a concept. You could feel things out, see how it works. And That is 41 minutes from start to finish of a nice little piece of concept art with just a few finishing touches to make it look nice, make it sharpened out. Maybe we could do a little bit more, a little bit less. Who knows? What I'm going to do now is I keep it? No, I didn't. So actually, 41 minutes. So with cutting mistakes out, adding in the intro that I left off with before, I really think this is a nice piece of art to start with, and I'm going to start working on this tomorrow morning. Maybe I'll stream it, maybe not, who knows. This is going to take a little bit longer than this, presumably, when I do it in Blender. I might try out different programs than Blender for this, but I'm really liking what I came up with. And remember, it went from something like this. So let's bring the opacity all the way up. Oop, wrong button. Let's bring the opacity all the way up to 100. So it went from, let's get rid of that. So it went from this normal, boring looking, I don't know, kitchen knife, for lack of a better term, all the way up into this nice, beautiful, hooked, clawed, spiked fantasy hunting knife. And I'm pretty happy with this. So I'm going to call this my stream for today. And that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you liked it, hit that like button, subscribe, tell your friends, tell everybody. I wrote a book. Yep, that's it. I wrote and self-published a book this year, technically last year. So I'm going to put a link to that in the description below, so have a look if you want to see what I wrote. Warning, adult content. Anyway, enjoy your new year. Thanks for watching.